Hey, cousins. So, hope you all are enjoying the content. You know, your girl's trying to give y'all unique perspectives and stuff like that the best way I could with whatever brain power I got. Also, don't forget, girl, what that got to do with wrestling over on the Patreon because I'm about to get into that Nelly and Ashanti show on Peacock. Ciao. And I also want to touch on Tia Kemp and Krishan Rock because listen, she done woke up. Old girl, you know Tia Kemp. That's if you don't know, that's Rick Ross' baby mother, ex-wife. Let me tell you something. Tia Kemp is from Dade County. My people from Broward County. So I already know you don't really fuck up with them people. You don't fuck with them people down there in Florida the way they get down. I think Krishan Rock done met her match, but we'll talk about that over there on the Patreon. So I'm just saying, if you're looking for something different and to take a break from wrestling, go over there and take a look at what I got. Just take a peek. Just take a peek. That's all. And shout out to the members of the channel that is always open. You know, it's a few little perks. So what the best I could do with what I got. Anyway, what are we talking about today? So you see the banner. So girl, right? Smackdown was recorded down to the Philadelphia on Monday, right after Raw, that awful show Raw on Netflix. Yeah, get into that review. Anyway, they was recording it because Paul Leviskate and TKO and Silver Lake and all of them, they want you to believe that they care about their employees so much that they're going to give them Independence Day off. And so because of that, they went ahead and had the recording right now. And what's good about that is two things. I could talk about it right now. Spoiler alert. Also, SmackDown is back to 2 hours. Round of applause. What does that mean? Not a motherfucking thing, because it's still going to be lackluster. So let's get into it the best way we can. Also, I will still be reviewing the show. I'm still going to watch SmackDown, and I'm still going to review it. But it's going to be kind of fun to see how it actually played out real time or recorded time to me just reading it and having some issues. All right, let's get into it. Remember, this is spoilers. So if you don't want the spoilers, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to to click off. All right, that was a few seconds. Here go the spoilers. Anyway, so we get into it, right? The King of the Ring, Cody Rhodes, he opens the show and was interrupted by the man he defeated in the final. Randy Orton admitted he hesitated to punting Rhodes last Saturday at the Night of Champions, but is proud of Cody for doing what he had to do to win. Orton makes his former legacy protege promise to beat John Cena at SummerSlam. They were then interrupted by returning Drew McIntyre. Let's give him a round of applause. You already know Drew McIntyre came in and said, look at these two bitches loving on each other in the fucking middle of the ring at a wrestling show. And because he was going in, he ended up getting RKO'd for his trouble. Anyway, we'll get back to Drew McIntyre if he shows up some more. So we got one thing going on, and I got a question if you want to answer it. Did Orton explain why he hesitated to punt Cody? No, he did not. He said, yeah, I hesitated to punch you, but make sure you go beat up John Cena. What the fuck? I am so tired of Cody Rhodes. Oh, it's so frustrating. I've never hated a character more. Oh, moving right along. A series of backstage segments are taking place on SmackDown this Friday. So let's see. The first one we see Nick Aldis and his shoulders, they still intact, everybody. He somehow convinced Charlotte Flair to team up with Alexa Bliss for a run at the women's tag titles. Charlotte eventually agrees, and Nick Aldis books them in a qualifier for Evolution's four-way. The GM also set up a tag match for Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso against two members of Solo Sikoa squad. And finally, he booked McIntyre versus Orton for Saturday night's main event on July 12th. Okay, let's unpack it. So remember on Monday, they said what they're going to do is for the women's title down to the Evolution, they were going to have one tag team from Raw, one from NXT, and one from SmackDown. So we are now on SmackDown, and this is the tag team that is going to be Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now, we could comfortably say that these are going to be the two bitches thrown into that match, right? Duh. Then it's funny that Jimmy is being teamed up with Jacob because I was like, well, where was Jacob at the Night of Champions when he was getting fucking pummeled and fucked up down to the Saudi Arabia? And we got to see what's his name? Talatonga, aka Hikaleo. Anyway, McIntyre versus Orton for Saturday night's main event. All because Orton was running down McIntyre at the top of the show. If there's some other history, somebody, can let me know because I don't really be paying attention like that. So far, the match card for Saturday main event is Drew versus Ramsey, Gunther versus Goldberg, and Rollins versus Knight. So we still need to squeeze a woman in there. So we'll talk about that later. Anyway, we go right into the match. So the match consisted of the Hervis, Alba Fire, Piper Niven, B-Fab, and Michin in a triple threat to advance to the four-way tag title match in Atlanta on July 13th for Evolution. Excuse me, real quick. Go ahead, take your earphones out, turn your volume down, or whatever device you're listening to me on, because I have to go ahead and get this off my chest. Get B-Fab away from Michin. She just lost a title shot. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair went on to advance, and so they will be a part of Raquel and Roxanne, and they are now the Smackdown women for the Fatal 4-Way for that tag team joint down to the Evolution. Moving right along, we backstage again because, child, God forbid somebody go outside. So we backstage again for a meeting with Nick Aldis and his shoulders and the Blue Brand Tag Division. He books one member, listen to this, one member from each team against the men of the High School Musical production of the Wyatt Six. So, the Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Eric Rowan, they went on to defeat Bertho, one half of the AAA Tag Team Champs, Montez Ford, one half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champs, Johnny Gargano, and Chris Sabin. I want one of y'all to get in these motherfucking comments and explain to me how the fuck that made sense. Moving right along, and this clip is actually floating online. Tiffany Stratton, it's Titty time. She comes out and she basically was like, she wants to talk about her match with the King of the Ring, Jay Cargill, who also comes out. And from what I see, Jay is very extravagant and she got her Queen of the Ring crown. Okay. Stratton says she wants to defend her title at Evolution. That boy, like I said, Jay Cargill came out, but Tiffany was like, I don't want to fight with you at Evolution because I'm fighting with you at down to the SummerSlam. She said, I want to fight Trish Stratus. And then Trish Stratus and her bottom jaw came out. And from the footage that I saw, she gave this whole long speech about history, whoop de whoop de whoop. And Tiffany Stratton basically was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if it's you, Jay Cargill, or if it's you, Trish Stratus. I'm beating either one of you bitches anytime. And another thing, Trish, this ain't the attitude ever. And whatever you talking about to pump yourself up is cute or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is always Tiffy time. So at Saturday at Evolution, we got Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus for her world title. Now we gonna double check on that because I heard when Trish was like, I would love a world title, and Tiffany was like, bitch, please. Moving right along. That was the rumor. She was supposed to be on Raw, but it was supposed to be SmackDown. So the rumor was true, but we got confused on when she was gonna show up. Then we got Andrade and Ray Phoenix. They mixing it up because everybody like, won't Andrade just get some pants to match Ray Phoenix's mask, and they could just be a tag team. Anyway, they defeated Fraxium, which is Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Them guys came up just so they could get cooled the fuck off. Child, Damian Priest attempted to vouch for Ron Killings in this whole situation with Aleister Black. Aleister Black was like, listen, I don't give a fuck what Ron Killings got going on. He keep fucking with what I got and it's going to be a problem. But anyway, the tensions are continuing to rise between Black and Priest, and they'll face each other on the July episode of SmackDown. So we're going to get Ron Killings versus Damian Priest on the July episode of SmackDown. You know what? I'm interested to see it. Now, July 11th episode is gonna tell me everything I need to know about what's going on with Ron Killings, because it doesn't seem like he's still looking for John Cena. What it looks like is he's kind of settling back into his mid card situation, and I feel like he's gonna get black masked, and I ain't gonna like that. Damian Priest, oh, we already said that. So anyway, Damian Priest was like, "Look at me, I'm hot." Now listen, Damian from the waist up is a hot bitch. I didn't realize how pretty his eyes was until last Smackdown. It was 3 hours. I was bored, and so I was gazing into his eyes when he was looking, like I'm just flustered. And I was like, "Oh, he got nice eyes." Anyway, Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso went on to defeat Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo. Fatu went to put Solo through the announce table, but Tala Tonga stopped him, and then Tonga Loa joined the assault, and the Timu Bloodline stands tall to end the episode. Listen, I'm gonna have to call him the Timu Bloodline because, like, what the fuck? What is this bloodline thing? I already put up a curious case for the bloodline. It looked like you're having a good time for that, but I need to know why Hikaleu decided to get behind Solo Sikoa. I need to know why JC Mateo decided to get from behind the barbecue grill and take off his leather sandals and get behind Solo Sikoa. I still don't know why the Tungans made their way over and got behind Solo Sikoa. I don't even know what the fuck Jacob is doing. So we need to know about all of that. So what y'all think? Here's one thing I'm going to say. I think it's really interesting, the juxtaposition. Now, I can say that word, but I can't say like small words. That's really weird. The fact that, let's go back to the women real quick. The fact that Tiffany Stratton said, I get to choose who I want to wrestle. And she said, Jay, I already got you penciled in for SummerSlam, so you could chill. She could have chose anybody. She chose Tiffany, Trish Stratus. Okay, cool. That's cute or whatever. You want to get that little zhuzh up under your belt. Let's go back to Io Sky, because I didn't really like settle in. I just wanted to get that on out and move on. Io Sky, goofy ass, could have chose Stephanie Vaquer, standing right there. She could have chose Oscar, who already said, bitch, we ain't on the same team no more. I'm finna eat your ass up the moment I get an opportunity. Standing right there. You could have gave us something we could have feel for the Evolution Joan. But no, we had to get Rhea Ripley, who, by the way, is prominent on the Evolution advertisement. You think that fell on on blind eyes or something, or deaf ears, that she is front and center of that fucking advertisement? See, listen, somebody said they got Rhea Ripley fatigue. I got Paul Leviskate fatigue. I really do, because this whole thing about, oh, I see talent. Rhea Ripley doesn't even fucking wrestle. She defended herself 32 matches in 2 fucking years. Fucking Io Sky, this is going to be her first defense since winning it at WrestleMania. Y'all don't see nothing wrong with this? I be joking when I said Io was keeping that title warm. Like I said before, Evolution, it should be one person that whole fucking show should revolve around, and that is Mother Caution, because she got the briefcase. I hope she doesn't try to cash in on Tiffany Stratton or try to cash in on Io Sky and save it for SummerSlam, so when she could go ahead and get with Jade Cargill. She could kind of play around and act like she going to cash it in just to scare the girls. But remember, the other titles, I know it's going to be a triple threat for the IC title coming up, because that's so fucking predictable. And the US title about to be on there too. And I kind of booked, I said, Julia, I mean, she could get a rematch against Zelina Vega or whoever they want to put her with. Okay? The NXT girls, I know somebody was like, it's a bunch of bullshit because they fired Jakara Jackson when she had a viable tag team with Lash Legend. But I already know who's going to come up from NXT. And it's going to be Sol Ruka and fucking Delta, because I keep forgetting her name on NXT. When I tell you Delta then came over there and ain't did shit but run behind Sol Ruka, it's a complete joke, child. When what really should be happening is Sol Ruka should be putting her North American title on the line. That's what really should be happening. But I get the feeling that she gonna be down to the tag team. Now, if they want to throw a tag team together, I wouldn't mind Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. I actually think they should have put one of the Evolve girls on a tag team on this card to get some eyes on Evolve. Cause quiet as it's kept, Evolve, they got some decent wrestling over there on fucking what the fuck is that? What's it called? Cause he said Timu, Tubi. All right, I'm gonna leave it like there. I just think that EO Sky is just dumb. How do you book 2 stars so fucked up like that? Everybody's a face, by the way. There are no heels in this situation. And Rhea Ripley is gonna go over EO Sky because if you're gonna leave people to pick, they're gonna pick who they turned on by and who they love. Trish Stratus is a face and Tiffany Stratton's a face. Who y'all think they're gonna pick? Child, I'm gonna leave it right there. Remember, spoiler, if you're not interested, well shit, if you made it this far, too late.